Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to tell you about the world's largest bee that recently sold on eBay for almost $10,000. Now let me get into a PowerPoint slide for you to show you some interesting things about this bee. So I'm going to share my screen with you here and just make this a little bit larger for you. Now just so you have a sense of scale and a frame of reference here, this, as you can see, is your average innocent little honeybee. Now, next to it, we have got the bumblebee. But what I'm going to show you in the next slide is what's known as Wallace's Giant Bee. This thing is absolutely gigantic. It's the size of a small bird. It has a 2.5-inch wingspan. Some have recorded wingspans up to 3 inches. And one of the other things that you could see about it right here is it has these very large mandibles. And what those are actually used for are the jaws that scrape balls of resin and wood to fortify their nests. They make their nests in aerial termite nests. Now, most people, when you think of termite nests, you think of, in the desert, you see a big mound on the ground. But they actually make theirs in aerial, meaning in the air. So they're up in the air, they're elevated off the ground, and that's certainly something that's going to give them some additional safety. The other thing is that this is the female of the species. The males are actually these puny little dudes that, are just nothing compared to the size of the female here. Now, this insect was discovered in 1859 by Alfred Russel Wallace. I like to refer to him as A&W, so it's easy to remember him. You might remember him in your science and history books because he independently came up with the theory of natural selection, along with, might be on Jeopardy one day, Charles Darwin. So they are always forever linked. But look at the size of this thing. I mean, this thing just looks vicious. But, we don't actually know, or scientists don't know, if this bee actually stings. I would definitely not want to be stung by one of these things. If I saw one of these things coming at me, I would be like, oh my God, and I'd definitely be running away as fast as I could. Now, this was, if you're wondering, are you going to run across this bee in your backyard one day? No, you're not unless you live in Indonesia. And as you can see here, this is the area in Indonesia where the bee was discovered. There's actually several different islands over there where the bee lives, but it's a relatively restricted habitat. So when the bee was not seen for a long time, and Alfred Russel Wallace was exploring, the islands over there for a long time, when it wasn't seen for a long time, people had assumed that it was actually extinct. But it was discovered again in 1981 and then in 2019. And I'm going to show you a video later of this actual bee moving inside the tube here. So, I mean, it is enormous, as you can see. Here's another picture of it as well. It is also known as Megachile Pluto. So there have been several samples that have been taken back to put in museums. So the American Museum of Natural History, for example, is a museum in England where one is located, and there's other areas as well. Now, getting to eBay, one of these actual big giant bees was sold on eBay relatively recently. So this was the first one. Now, I cannot find the actual listing, but this goes back to 2018. I'll even give you the specific date in a second, but I was able to find the actual title of the listing. And this was the title of the listing: 1X Wallace's Giant Bee, Megachile Pluto, very rare, only one. That was actually what it was titled. And what did it sell for? And there's the exact date, March 24th, 2018, $9,100. Now, some of you might be skeptical of that and say, well, was that actually paid for? I can't tell you if it was actually paid for. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that if you do a little bit of research online about this and you study entomologists' forums, entomologists are professional scientists. They study insects for a living. They actually had discussions when this was actually up for sale, and you could actually see them talking about this and saying, people outside of our community won't understand it, but we actually would pay this much money for this insect and to have it. So now another thing that makes me lean a little bit more towards that this might be a legitimate sale is that the bidding actually had gone up to $39,000 at one point, and then eBay must have taken some of those bids down, thinking they were not genuine bids, and so the final sale price was the $9,100. Now, another one did come up several months later for a sale price of $4,100. So, you know, if you're ever in Indonesia for any reason and on one of the islands and you're looking for something that could sell for thousands of dollars, this could be something, but I'm just kidding around because honestly, we all know that none of us are going to go over there and get one of those things. I am going to skip that totally. Now, the interesting thing, a lot of you might think, well, is this actually something you can sell on eBay? Well, eBay does have a live animals policy, and for the most part, you are not allowed to sell pets and most live animals on the forum. But there are actually some exceptions, and one of the exceptions, the first actual exception that you see listed there is bees, live bees. You could actually sell live bees on eBay. So if you could sell live bees on eBay, you could sell a bee that's not living anymore either. I don't actually know if the bee that they sold, the giant bee, if it was alive or if it was dead at the time that they made the sale. That would actually be an interesting thing to know. So not sure on that one, but boy, oh boy, that is definitely scary. Now let me get out of here and I'm going to share a video with you here in which you could actually see this bee in action for yourself. So this is the picture that I showed you earlier, and I'll try to make the screen a little bit bigger for you here. So it's just a little bit of a delay here, but it is enormous, as you can see. You will see that that's actually the aerial termite mound that I was talking about. And there's actually a wingspan, as I mentioned earlier, measured at 3 inches. And you could see there it was about the size of a small songbird. So that is just absolutely crazy. 4 times the size of a regular bee. Now, you might be wondering, is this listed on the endangered species list because you're not supposed to sell things that are on endangered species list, but it's actually not on there. Now, that might really be a technicality if you read up on the literature about this, because people had presumed that it wasn't around anymore until it was discovered, many, many years later. So that might be why it actually wasn't. Why would you put something on an endangered species list if you didn't think there were any of them around? But to the best of my knowledge, it is still not actually listed anywhere on an endangered species list. If someone knows of something contrary to that, or if there's an update to that in the future, let me know that down below. Again, I don't suspect that many of you are going to go out and start making trips over to Indonesia to get giant Wallace bees to sell on eBay for thousands of dollars. But just in case you were thinking about it, make sure you have all the correct information. So anyway, I thought that some of you would find this interesting, just something a little lighthearted, and I don't know, maybe I'll make a little series in the future building off of this called Weird Things That's Sold on eBay. So if you thought this was interesting, make sure that you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you leave a comment down below. And who knows, maybe I'll broadcast again from the Primetime Honeycomb in the future. So with that, everyone, I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you at the next one. Take care.